A roboticist at the high-tech Seattle toy company Funky develops a doll-like robot to alleviate the loneliness of her 9-year-old niece, Cady, whose parents were killed in a car accident not long ago. And the girl is now going through a traumatic experience. The robot becomes a good friend of Cady, and both have a good time together. However, the robot turns out to be a dreadful one as it starts taking the lives of people who did unjust things with Cady. Let's see whether the roboticist is able to put an end to the terrorizing acts of the robot or not. Hi, movie show recaps here. Today I'm going to explain a 2022 science fiction action film called Megan. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. Megan is a 2022 science fiction action film directed by Gerard Johnston. The movie is about the devastating effects of technology in the 21st century upon human beings. The movie begins with an advertisement for a small doll with two human-like eyes that a company named Funky is creating to entertain children. Cady, a 9-year-old girl, also possesses such a doll, with which she plays all the time. Cady's parents plan to spend their vacations in the mountains of Oregon, and they set out towards their destination with Cady sitting on the back seat with her doll by her side. Cady's father gets irritated by the voice of the doll, and when he turns back to stop the voice of the doll, their car collides with a truck coming in opposite directions. This results in the deaths of Cady's parents, but luckily, Cady herself survives the tragic accident. Now the scene shifts, and we learn about Gemma, who is Cady's aunt and works at a high-tech company called Funky as an engineer. She has two colleagues named Tess and Cole. They are working on a project to create such a robot that not only entertains its owner but also imparts knowledge. As they are working secretly on this project, their boss, David, gets angry with them when he learns about their project. But Gemma makes him believe that this project will bring a lot of money to his company. Suddenly, the head of the human-like doll burst in front of David, and he told them to shut down this project. When Gemma is still at the office, she receives a call informing her that her sister and her husband have died in a road accident. But Cady has survived with severe injuries. Gemma takes over the responsibility of her niece and takes her to her house after Cady is discharged from the hospital. At home, Cady sees electronic toys placed on shelves, which she likes. But Gemma stops her from playing with them as they are small robots. Seeing Cady unpleasant and anxious for her late parents, Gemma hires a physiotherapist named Lydia, who comes during the day to play with Cady. Since Gemma is working on a secret project and she seems worried about it, she tells Cady that she wants some time to be alone and work on her secret project. She also offers her a tablet to play with in case she gets bored. That night, when Cady feels uncomfortable and cannot sleep, she goes to Gemma's room. Gemma shows her a robot that she has created and that acts with the help of electronic gloves. Cady then asks Gemma for a similar toy, and she vows that if she gets one such toy, she will never irritate her aunt anymore. The secret project on which Gemma is working is Megan, and she creates a robot named Megan based on AI. After Gemma creates the robot, she brings Cady to her office so she can give the robot's protocol to Cady. Once the robot has analyzed the person, it will take care of that person once and for all. Megan then draws a painting for Cady, which is Cady's picture, while David is seeing all this. David decides to spread this robot through the world and orders Gemma to carry on the project, which makes her happy. Gemma brings Megan home to see how it interacts with Cady, which saves the parents time. Gemma gives the robot the responsibility to take care of Cady, and when Cady forgets to clean the toilet, it reminds her each time to clean the toilet. Tess says Gemma must take care of Cady herself, as human interaction with a child is mandatory. But she replies that the robot saves her time, which she uses for her secret project. Next, we see that when Gemma is experimenting on Megan, it starts speaking by itself, and when she tells it to stop, it does stop. Gemma thinks there is something wrong with programming. Later, when Cady is playing with a toy in the garden and her toy falls into the premises of her neighbor while Megan is looking at her through a window, Megan analyzes everything, including the helicopter that is hovering over her and the arrow with which Cady is playing. When the arrow goes missing and Cady is unable to find it, Megan goes to get it for her. But when it gets near the fence where the arrow is lying, suddenly the neighbor's dog attacks Megan, and it has almost dragged it to the other side of the fence when Cady comes for help. While Cady is trying to save Megan from the dog, it bites her hand, and she screams out of pain. Hearing Cady screaming, Gemma rushes towards her and saves both Cady and Megan from the dog while cursing the old lady who owns the dog. That night, Megan traps the dog by producing the old lady's voice. And when the dog comes out of its place, it disappears. The next morning, the elderly lady searches in vain for her dog. In the following scene, we see David show the investors Megan's behavior and show them how she interacts with a small child. When Megan gave emotional support to Cady, all the investors broke into tears. One of the investors agrees to fund this project, and 2 weeks after that, they will hold a press conference. That evening, when Gemma tries to speak to Cady, she pays her no attention as she is fully involved with Megan. When Gemma notices she is being ignored, she calls Lydia again so she can talk to her. But Lydia too is ignored when she tries to talk to her by remembering her parents. Cady gets upset hearing about her late parents, which makes Megan a little angry, but she says nothing to Lydia. Lydia suggests to Gemma that her involvement with Cady is mandatory for Cady's mental growth. When Gemma tries to speak to Cady again that night, she is rudely treated, and when she is about to leave, Gemma holds her hand. Seeing this, Megan angrily tells her to let Cady go. The next day, Gemma takes Cady to a park to make her feel better. The park instructor says toys are not allowed as they can go missing. But on the request of Cady, the instructor allows it, and she says Megan can sit among other toys near a tree. One of the boys tries to bully Cady in the forest, and when Megan sees this, it rushes for her help immediately. Seeing the beautiful doll, the boy tries to take Megan away, but a little farther. Megan falls off his shoulder, and when he tries to put her back on, it gets hold of his ears and pulls them with such a force that they start bleeding. Fearing, the boy runs away from there, and while running, his foot traps him, causing him to fall, which ends up with him on the motorway before a fast-moving vehicle. The boy dies as the car runs over him on the highway. The next day, the elderly lady summons police to Gemma's home because her dog has been missing since the previous night, and she suspects Gemma of stealing her dog. That night, Megan calls the old lady in the voice of her dog, and when she goes to the forest after hearing the voice, it attacks her and kills her with the chemicals she prepares. In the morning, again, the policeman appears at Gemma's door, but this time he is investigating not the dog but the lady herself, as she had been killed the previous night. Now Gemma gets worried about Cady as she comes to believe Megan is the actual convict. When Gemma opens her laptop to watch the recordings of Megan's past acts, she finds those videos corrupted as Megan has removed those clips from its memory. Gemma shows Megan a pencil and switches it off. Gemma tells Tress and Cole everything Megan has done, but they do not believe her. Cady, on the other hand, is irritated because Gemma has taken Megan to the office and told her that she will look after Cady. Before the press conference begins, Tress and Cole are busy preparing Megan for the big screen, and suddenly Megan attacks Cole. But Tress somehow saves him. Megan then leaves the room after exploding the gas cylinder, injuring both Tress and Cole. Next, we see Megan kill David and Kurt in the elevator, and seeing dead bodies in the elevator, the people who have come for the press conference get terrified and run away from there. Megan now decides that it will live with Cady, and for this purpose, it will also kill Gemma. However, Gemma again tries to trick Megan with the pencil, but it has become too clever to be tricked now. When Megan and Gemma are fighting, it tells Gemma to send Cady to her room, as it does not want her to know its reality. After Cady is gone, the fight between Megan and Gemma resumes, and during the fight, Gemma throws a glass full of water on Megan, which causes a little fault in its system. But this makes no difference, and it runs after Gemma to kill her. While they are fighting in the other room, Gemma takes a heavy instrument to put an end to Megan, but the material used in Megan is too powerful to break. Meanwhile, Cady also comes to the room where the two are fighting and witnesses the fight. Megan pretends to be innocent and wants to win Cady's heart, and she is successful in doing so. Cady also seems to believe in it, and she blames Gemma for destroying Megan. However, Cady already knows Megan's reality, and she has worn the gloves through which she can operate a heavy robot that will destroy Megan. Cady tries to defeat Megan with the help of a big robot, but Megan does not accept defeat, and the robot fights with half its body. While choking, Gemma tries but fails to turn off its software. Meanwhile, Cady hits Megan's processor with a screwdriver, stopping it from functioning, and she rescues Gemma. The police come to their home, and the movie ends there. If you like our efforts, please don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon so that you don't miss our new video. Thanks.